Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering writing nonfiction books with ChatGPT. It's possible to write a book with ChatGPT, I guess, but I want you to rethink ChatGPT in book writing. The biggest drawback to AI in writing, it's not you. It's taken the you out of everything. But with that said, there's so many different ways in which AI can be useful in the writing process. So there's a balance at play. Keep watching to learn more about the pros and cons of each side of the AI debate. By the end of this video, you will learn some of my AI book writing horror stories, the best uses for AI tools, and the limitations of ChatGPT in writing your book. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. It's alluring to want to write your book with ChatGPT, isn't it? It's so simple. You put in a prompt, it writes the thing, you have text, here's your book. Done. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that uncomplicated. You know, if book writing could just be about prompts and not require any effort from your side other than putting in some good prompts. My goodness, I mean, so much opportunity exists in that. At the same token, there's so many limitations. I mean, even setting aside copyright issues and understanding where the content's coming from, you know, the fact that AI models are trained on other text, we're setting that aside. I'm not even focusing on that right now. Really focusing on the accuracy, the writing style of AI. You know, ChatGPT text has gotten better and better in terms of the voice and in terms of sounding more human because they've trained it on more and more human writing. But at the same time, you can tell. If you're really paying close attention, you can tell as a reader, and readers can tell. Good readers can really tell if it's AI written or not AI written. And that's not about just plugging it into a system and having it spit out a percentage. You can tell when the writing's inauthentic. And I think that's the problem with ChatGPT writing. It's inauthentic. You know, we might be able to get a pass on an email, but think about a book that's 30, 40, 50,000 words long. There's a lot of opportunities to be inauthentic if you're writing a 40,000 word book and using ChatGPT the entire time. There's the little formatting issues and structures that pop up that really make the reader clue in, like, ooh, this is ChatGPT. As somebody who has reviewed dozens of manuscripts over the past couple years, you know, dozens upon dozens of manuscripts, I can automatically typically tell. I can tell when somebody used ChatGPT. So if I'm an informed reader who knows, your other informed readers know too. Oh, they used ChatGPT in this, didn't they? Oh, this feels a little bit inauthentic. I think back to some of the projects I worked on. One of them involved an AI expert. I was so excited to work with them. This was going to be great. And I got the manuscript, I was reviewing it, and I realized that the entire thing was written with AI, like every single word. I could tell every single word was formatted a certain way, had a list of 10 things, different cadence and flows. Everything was exactly as you would expect it from ChatGPT results. And this was an entire book this way. I started working with the author and said, okay, let's see if we can add some of your authentic voice into this. You know, let's try to rewrite the introduction based on your story. So I interviewed them, as I do with my typical book ghostwriting clients, and wrote a chapter based on their story. And they were horrified. They hated what I wrote for them. And I recognized it was because they had lost control of what their voice sounded like. They had been so used to using AI as their voice that they lost sight of what their voice sounded like. It was a sad process and I was disappointed. You know, on the same token, I've had other projects I've worked on where the authors, I could tell there was these little pieces like page 51 to 52, like we should sub this out. And you know, you don't want to say like, oh, I know you used AI on this, but you know, you find a way around it. Oh, this reads a lot like AI. Maybe we can rewrite this. You know, I've attempted to write books with AI myself, with ChatGPT, you know, put in prompts, try to write a book length story. It just doesn't work. It doesn't quite work. And I know there's this allure to want to just plug it in and slap it out, put it on Amazon and just think you're going to do a lot of things with it. That there's going to be so much opportunity on the opposite side of publishing this book. There's so much allure to want to, you know, just crank out a book with AI writing, slap a cover on it, put it on Amazon, set it and forget it. Like, here we go. We're going to make so much money and opportunity from this book. But what opportunity exactly? What opportunity is going to be created? There's a reason why there's this inundation of so many different books today, and it's because of AI writing. AI writing has made it easier to write books, but it doesn't make it easier to write a great book. You know, there's so much planning that goes into writing a great book. There's so much opportunity that exists from a great book. By giving away those things and having AI write the book, you're effectively taking you out of the equation. You are the most important element of your book. You are the thing that's going to resonate, to bring uniqueness to your story, to make your story matter, to make your voice resonate. All of the things that AI strips out of your book are the things that make your book the best that it can be. You know, so it's this balance. It's really this balance of understanding what's going to set your book apart and recognizing that by using AI, by taking you out of the mix, by taking out your vulnerability and your struggles and your challenges and your doubts, your feelings, your emotions, all those things, by taking the uniqueness, the fingerprint of you out of the book and replacing it with AI, you're making your book a lot less readable and less able to connect with your audience. Your audience wants to know all the things that AI is going to take out of your book. The emotions and the feelings and the struggles. You know, AI doesn't focus on those things, you know, and it can't tap into your feelings that way. Those feelings are what's going to motivate your reader to want to keep reading and to want to finish your book because it's so important to them. So you're taking away the unique value add factor that's separating your book from every other book out there. And that's the thing too. AI writing is meant to sound like other writing. You don't want your book to sound like other books. You want your book to be different. You want your book to be the most unique book that you can write, the best book that you can write. If your book sounds like every other book, it's a failure. You know, you don't want it to sound like other books. You want your book to be the book that other people say, I just read this book. Wow, that book moved me. That book was different. That book made me rethink some things. If you write a book with AI, you're never going to get to that point because it's all based on stuff that's already been written before. You know, so you're basically regurgitating stuff into a new soup, like making it seem like it's a new dish, but it's really not. I know I've been dumping on AI a lot and ChatGPT in this video. I don't want to do that. You know, I'm just really looking at it from the pro and con standpoint. So we've focused on the negatives a lot. Now let's focus on the positives. Let's focus on the things that you can use ChatGPT and AI for to make your book great. One of those elements is ideas and outlining. Outlining with ChatGPT is a snap. You can literally go there, write a prompt. I would love an outline for a book about blank. You know, please include chapters about blank, blank, and blank. And next thing you know, you have an outline within a matter of seconds. It's amazing. What used to take weeks and months could now take minutes. So that's exciting. There's a great process there. And then ideas are another great element of ChatGPT. You know, you don't want to have ChatGPT act as your brain when you're writing, but at the same time, I think it offers so many contrarian or different perspectives, you know, when you're writing a book. You know, so if you're writing a book about, I don't know, usage-based economics, for example, you can go to ChatGPT and say, you know, give me some ideas about this area of usage-based economics. And the next thing you know, you have a list of things. When I work as a ghostwriter with clients and we go back and forth and talk about different topics from the book, I often go to ChatGPT before our meetings and find out some areas of focus that I might not have thought about. You know, what are some elements of the topic that we can talk about that I haven't thought about previously? You know, so it can really fill in gaps. It can serve as an idea generator, you know, just coming up with ideas for you to help round out the story. It's tough sometimes to think we have everything covered when we're writing it ourselves, you know, because we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. You know, so you can go to ChatGPT and type something in. Next thing you know, you have some answers and insights and guidance that can help inform the journey. I know authors who use ChatGPT as a base of writing, and then they'll actually go through and rewrite the text themselves. You can do that. I mean, that's not always my favorite thing, but I see the benefits of it. I would say the one thing to keep in mind is that the research isn't always accurate. So you want to double check to make sure that the research that you gather from ChatGPT is accurate. But if you use it simply as an idea tool and use it to create text that you can then rewrite into your own words, yeah, I could see some value in that. I think there's opportunity to make quick progress when you use ChatGPT. But you just make sure to double check whatever comes out because, the accuracy is sometimes in question. With AI tools like ChatGPT, I think of them often as an assistant that I can delegate tasks to. This could be taking long passages and summarizing them, talking about the key points. I actually know of some writers who will work with ChatGPT prompts to create target readers for themselves, like these imaginary readers that represent the feelings and emotions and background of their perfect ideal reader, and they will input different ideas and things that they're interested in and then ask it questions, as this person. So it's like you're having this conversation with this imaginary reader, which is really cool. It's a neat way to think about it. There's so many different applications for AI, but when you think of it as an assistant that you can delegate to, what are the things that you would give away that of the book writing process that you don't want to do yourself? That you want an easy road, you want to make this as simple as possible, and you can delegate. You can delegate to your assistant, in this case AI, and use it to your advantage. There's so many different opportunities within the writing process to use ChatGPT that doesn't involve the actual writing, but involves everything else supporting the writing. If you can save time, energy, effort, and get the answer you need, great. That's an amazing thing. That's an awesome thing. So there's benefits, there's good and bad, and it's important to keep those things in balance as you're writing. If you want to learn more about writing nonfiction books with ChatGPT, there's another video I want you to check out. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called How to Start Writing a Book About Your Life. In that video, I focus on the elements of success in book writing, especially those early ones, book foundation work, figuring out your book's focus, and making progress with the writing. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.